All right, if you don't like the idea of a rational faith like Aquinas has, well then you'd have no faith. Or you could have an irrational faith. Let's talk about an irrational faith a little bit. Two of my favorite philosophers to just sit down and read, other than Plato, Pierre Bayle and Michel de Montaigne. Both of these advocate for a kind of unreasonable faith. Montaigne's is funny. He thinks reason can tell us nothing. He's a skeptic. His slogan is, what do I know? I like that. I'm going to start using it all the time. What do I know? Okay. He's like, well, look, we don't have reason to tell us the truth. We got to form our beliefs based on, what works, what's accepted by the people around us. So Montaigne says, I'm French, so I'm Catholic. All right. Bayle is more interesting. Bayle also thinks that reason ultimately is faulty. He makes this argument in several places, but one place he makes it is in the argument regarding Zeno of Elea. Basically, he says the whole point of the Zeno paradoxes, about like motion not really existing. Let me know if you need me to talk about the Zeno paradoxes. It's like the point is the abasement of reason and the exaltation of faith. Reason leads us astray. Reason, if you listen to reason, reason will tell you not to listen to reason, he says. He also makes a bunch of arguments. Historical arguments, too. It's a historical and critical dictionary. It's a precursor to the Diderot Encyclopedia. Really, it's a fun book. It really is. Anyway, so other places, though, right? People kind of are on the fence about Bayle. There's two main ways of reading him. One is he's secretly an atheist, and he wants to destroy your religion. The other, I think, is much more interesting. He's a genuine skeptic who sees faith as the only way to kind of navigate the world. Now, part of the argument for that second reason is that his whole point here isn't trying to get people to abandon their faith, but actually he makes an argument for religious toleration of religious differences, largely based on the fact, for him, he thinks, that reason really can't decide these things. If reason can't decide, I don't know, between there is a God who creates this world with evil and there's not a God and the world is, created from, or it just exists with no create. Bayle tends to think that there needs to be a creator and God can't be evil. He kind of ends up saying something along the lines of, well, look, reason tells me that the divine responsible for... yes, actually. He has some really fun examples. Problematic, but he thinks of, like, the fall as like a physician who lets his own child, go he this time, who lets his own child fall, do something risky, fall, break a limb. Could have stopped him, but doesn't want to do that. Lets the child fall and break his limb so he can demonstrate his skill in mending bones. Or like a mother, this one's even more problematic, or like a mother who allows her daughters to go to a ball, believing that there they would lose their virtue there. Whatever that means. We know what that means, right? They would lose their virtue there, and sends them, even having perfect... Bayle is something of a Calvinist in his beliefs, which I gotta tell you about my own past and present at some point, but if the mother had invincible remedies that could make the daughters impervious to temptation, invincible, and doesn't give it to them, sends them to the ball, the mother would prove that she loves neither her daughters nor virtue. All right, so this is what Bayle says about the problem of evil, basically. You can't solve it because reason will tell you that God is responsible for the evil, that God is doing things that if we did it, it would be immoral. But reason is faulty. Are we going to trust reason? No. Reason itself will tell you not to trust reason. Which, I don't know, that's not what I try to get you to see when I give you skeptical arguments, that reason itself tells you not to trust reason. We need to understand how we know things, right? Anyway, so Bayle says that we shouldn't trust reason. Instead, we should have faith. We should trust in faith. Hide behind. He talks about it as a hiding. Hide behind faith instead of arguing in the court of reasons. That's for the other people. The other people are going to argue in the court of reasons, and they're going to be misled. We who know better, Bayle says, should abandon reason in preference for faith. What a strange position. But then at the same time, he says some things about King David that are, he says so many things that are so controversial, right? He doesn't read like this devout, pious, I have faith and no one argue with me. No, he argues. He argues for weird positions, for bold positions. Not every fideist does that, right? Bayle is not the person who looks for a simple faith, who says, I don't need to understand. I should just believe and trust. That's not Bayle. Bayle is doing something a little different with that. That's not Montaigne. Montaigne's doing something a little bit different with that. But there are fideists who approach it from maybe a more mystical bent. But if you're a fideist, if you embrace faith instead of reason, what do you have? What do you have to push back against your perception, your limited understanding? What do you have? Kierkegaard is also someone who kind of rejects a rational faith associated with fideism. But for Kierkegaard, that inner voice, it almost is reason. Is it? Oh, maybe I shouldn't go there. But here's the thing, right? Kierkegaard is separating from and critiquing the religious communities around him. That's so important, right? Because if one is going to embrace some kind of unreasonable faith, the big danger is that the thing you're having faith in is really just like what's normal in your community, especially if you're in a tight-knit religious community, right? What's seen as normal, what's seen as weird, what's seen as dangerous, what's seen as properly pious, right? All of these, there is so much that the human just brings to it, right? There are so many people out there, bullies, ready to just say, hey, ready to judge those people in order to make themselves the ones doing the judging, who then have, that social power from selling out another group. This happens in churches. Isn't this the message of the Gospels, right? Don't use religion to judge people. Use religion to love people if you can, right? Don't use religion to judge people. So, look, if reason isn't what's kind of stepping in to put some friction between you and your community organized around religion, if reason's not doing that, well, I mean, maybe you could do without reason if you think real carefully about love. Maybe you don't need to be so smart if you can really master love. Maybe. But how do you know what love is? Do we just learn it from our communities? Oh, what if we learned it wrong?